Hey guys, this is Captain Frugal reporting for duty.
And this is Little Frugal.
We're going to talk about this game here today. Fantastic Four for the PlayStation 1. I know this game gets a lot of hate, so if you watch any other videos, you're going to get nothing but hate about this game. And I understand that. I started that way too, but Little Frugal's seen Dr. Doom at the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he loves Dr. Doom, and so he just had to try it. And I warned him, hey, I think this game sucks. But then he tried it and we did something a little different. And we got a lot of different results. So stick through and watch it. It's actually going to be like 3 reviews in one. You might be really surprised about what we have to say about this game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, so sit back. We hope you relax and enjoy. If you don't mind, you like this kind of video, hit like, subscribe, and hit that notifications bell. And if you've played it too, let us know what you think about it down in the comments. So let's jump in and do a review on Fantastic Four for the PlayStation 1. Alright guys, as I said once again, this game is going to be like 3 reviews in one, so bear with me. I'm going to give a little details on the game and get into the gameplay as well as all the aspects about it. Alright, so this game, The Fantastic Four, is a PlayStation video game developed by Probe Entertainment and published by Acclaim Entertainment. Yes, Acclaim, the same very Acclaim that we know is somewhat guilty of pumping out games that probably really should have never been released. The game was released in 1997 and it was based on the Marvel Comics characters of none other than the Fantastic Four. Dr. Doom in this game has developed a device that transports the Fantastic Four to various locations to do battle with various monsters and supervillains. Mr. Fantastic assembles a time machine in this game and allows him to transport his team to the tiny kingdom where Dr. Doom is for the final battle. While Galactus does actually appear in this game, you don't actually really get to see him. He's behind the scenes destroying the Skrull homeworld, which you're going to be fighting on. So with that said, the game is a side-scrolling arcade beat-em-up, much like Final Fight. You get to play up to 4 players. Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Woman, Thing, Human Torch, or the She-Hulk, because during that time She-Hulk was also potentially a member of that team covering for the Thing. That's happened a couple times throughout comic history. You're going to be fighting through side-scrolling levels. You're going to be fighting groups of thugs, robots, and mutants that will appear on each screen, and you have to destroy all of those before you can advance. Every character has a very short-range special fighting move like punching, kicking, jumping, tossing enemies and objects. They're all normal, but in addition to those, you get a special move depending on each character. You also get to use blocks for certain special moves, but here's the kicker, it does drain your special power. Some enemies will leave behind icons and things to help power you back up and restore your health, and as well as that force power. And on each level, there's a supervillain to defeat. So you are going to get to some pretty cool supervillains like Mole Man, Super Skrull, Atuma. You get to fight even Submariner, Psycho Man, as well as Dr. Doom, the final boss. Now, after you defeat that boss without the loss of any player's life, this is one of the 3 bonus rounds that you're going to get. So at the end, if you have a bonus round, you get to fight another person, and you could fight the Dragon Man, Incredible Hulk, or even Iceman. I don't know why they picked those characters, but they just did. So once again, it's a side-scrolling beat-em-up. So let's talk about this game and my views about it, shall we? Once again, I want to remind you that this is actually like 3 reviews in one. So first I want to give you my first impressions of the game. When I first started playing this game, I won't lie, I absolutely hated it. I was playing one player with the default settings with no bots. In other words, no computer AI assisting me as other heroes. The game overwhelmed me with enemies. And every time I would get taken out, I'd get brought back and they'd just whoop my butt and take me down again. I often found myself dying right after I was respawned by the overpowering enemies. By the time I was halfway through the game, I was wishing that this game would end and it was over. But don't stop this review yet. That was my first initial impressions. But at the end, Little Frugal came in and he saw me fighting the final boss, Dr. Doom, which once again, if you haven't been able to tell, he's a major fan of. And as a Doom fan, he wanted to play the game. So I warned him that the game was absolute crap, but he wanted to play it anyway. So I said, okay. So this time I decreased the difficulty level from the standard, I lowered it, and I provided him with AI teammates. This is where the game took a different turn, and I noticed that maybe just maybe, I was playing the game wrong. With teammates, the game did not change the number of enemies, and the teammates actually helped significantly, making the game very playable. But wait, don't jump in and stop this review yet, okay? Because once again, this is 3 reviews in 1, right? There was still a fatal game-breaking flaw with this, though, while Little Frugal was playing. When you have the AI teammates, they make the final boss, Dr. Doom, nearly impossible. At the very end, Dr. Doom will put up a shield, and if you're attacking him, the shield prevents him from taking any damage. But the problem is, to get him to lower the shield, you have to stop attacking him. Well, here is the issue. The problem is that the teammate AI will not stop attacking Dr. Doom. He will constantly, he or she, whatever the AI is, character is, doesn't matter if you're having the AI be Mr. Fantastic or Invisible Woman, whatever, it will constantly attack Dr. Doom, keeping that shield up, making it impossible to hurt Dr. Doom. The way to hurt Dr. Doom is you have to actually leave him alone a bit. He's going to shoot a rocket. You have to avoid that rocket and then hit him. But with the AI constantly attacking him, it is impossible. This is a game-breaking bug that makes this game, in my opinion, completely unplayable and not enjoyable playing it like this. But wait, let's get a third impression of this game. As I said, 3 reviews in 1, and then I'm going to go over the pros and cons. So once again, please stick with me here. And no, I'm not talking about those goofy little mini games in between each level that covers up the load time. That mini game is just a waste. I mean, really. I could barely figure out what the heck I'm supposed to do driving that stupid car all around. Maybe we were still playing the game wrong all along. We discovered that if you play this game with multiple players, like Little Frugal and I played together, you can play it with up to 4 players at once, right? And you avoid using the AI teammates, the game is actually pretty fun. You can then do a beat 'em up with up to 4 players together without any AI issues and bugs. Yes, the game gets repetitive, but let's be honest. This is common for beat 'em up games. That's why beat 'em up games are generally short. I do think this one probably overstayed its welcome a little bit and should have been a little shorter. It would have been better also with more variety of enemies, but even better, even though there's a lot of backgrounds and things like that, the backgrounds didn't have a whole lot to get involved in the game. There was a couple segments where it did, but it could have had more that would have made it better. So I would strongly suggest that you sit down with friends and play this together, and then, believe it or not, it's actually a pretty decent beat 'em up. Alright, with the 3 different takes on the game, let's look at the pros and look at the cons, and let's give it a final thought, shall we? Well, the screen scaling was cool. I thought, especially for the time, you get the screen zooms in and screen zooms out based on where your character is. I thought that was a nice touch. You also get to play the Fantastic Four and She-Hulk. Once again, pretty darn cool things. Each character does have their own special, unique powers. Another thing is, it's a side-scrolling beat-em-up multiplayer game. And I stress that, multiplayer, that's the key right there. This game will call you out as well for spamming attacks, saying that you're cheesing it by putting a thing of cheese up on the screen. Also, the game will praise you if you are doing well. Now that we've gotten those good things out of there, let's talk about some of the negatives, shall we? The cons of the game. One is, well, this is 1997. With that said, the graphics still could have been a little bit better. They weren't as bad as some people maybe say, especially considering it is on the PlayStation 1. Usually have a lot more issues with screen tearing and how the backgrounds would be on a PlayStation 1 game. This wasn't actually that bad. The next one is the music was okay. Where I thought it was overly repetitive and not that good, Little Frugal actually liked it. And to be fair, this is a Fantastic Four game. The quirky music somewhat matches the content. It does make a little bit of sense. You're not going to have a die-hard rockin' tune to Fantastic Four. It just wouldn't make sense. Though that's what I prefer usually in a beat-em-up game. It does tend to fit. The next one is, well, the character powers could be better. Each character has their own powers, but they really, they could have been done a lot better. I mean, to fly up a little bit and shoot a fireball, it doesn't. Johnny Torch should be able to fly all over the place. Human Torch, Johnny Torch, Johnny Storm. He should be able to fly all over the place, but he just couldn't. So the powers of the characters were very limited. They could have been done a lot better. Also, the amount of enemies do not scale to the amount of players. So if you're playing 1 player, you're going to get the same amount of enemies on screen as if you do 4 players. There's the key to this game, why it stinks playing it as single player unless the difficulty is cranked down significantly. And still not that good as single players. Really, I think this game is dope to be multiplayer. Well, let me get to that in a moment though. You have a limited amount here. This is a big one of blocking before you can take damage. Yes, your character can only block so much and they start taking damage. I thought that was very, very ridiculous. What kind of fighting game allows you to only block a very, very minimal amount and then you start getting hurt after? I didn't like that part. Now, another one, there was not much character variation. And what I mean for that is, for example, the Thing should be able to take more damage than Sue or Reed, right? And you just don't have any of that. They all take the same amount of damage, so the lack of variation in the characterization there really makes it sort of like, who cares which character you pick? Cosmetically, it's different. Yes, they do have a little bit different superpowers, but they generally do the same thing. Now, the game could have, as I said, also used more environmental impacts to break up the gameplay monotony and make it a little better. Also, the biggest one, in my opinion, is the character AI itself of the heroes is game-breaking. If you are playing it by yourself or with two players with any AI hero, it breaks the game because it causes that problem. So with that said, the way to play this game is to sit down with two or more people with no AI and play it together.
Well, guys, there you have it. Fantastic Four for PlayStation 1. I think we gave you a little bit of different opinion than what you might have already had. We realized at the very beginning that playing it as a single-player game just is not as good. When you introduce the bots, it's darn right terrible because you can't really beat the game. But the bots did have a good AI that actually helped you until the very end, right? But it just kept you from beating the final boss, Dr. Doom. You couldn't do it. Where the game really tends to help is if you roll off the difficulty if you're going to play it on single player. Then it's actually playable just as you with a lower difficulty setting. But where the game excels and is absolutely the best is when you have real people playing couch co-op together doing the beat 'em up. Then this game can actually have some pretty good fun, can't it?
Yeah.
So thanks again for watching the video. If you don't mind, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and until next time,
Keep it frugal.
keep it frugal.
It had some of my favorite characters. Definitely Dr. Doom. And it was a pretty good game. But I like it a lot when I always fight Dr. Doom. It always makes me happy and stuff. Any bot, even if you play as one that's just keep punching Dr. Doom, and then Dr. Doom will keep using his shield, and they will never stop making the game impossible with the bots.